Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Money Matters. And just yesterday, the budget 2022 was unveiled by Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, and there has been a lot of controversial opinions on this year's budget, and a lot of memes have been running in Twitter as to there's nothing for middle class in this budget. As in, what does that imply? It implies that income tax slabs have been unchanged from last year, which means the income tax slab rates, which was for the year 2021 to 2022, that has been unchanged, and there is no sort of relief for middle class people. So that is one of the biggest criticisms of this year's budget, that nothing has been there is no sort of relief for the middle class people. Now, coming to the middle class people is that, as you know, that there's no changes in the income tax slabs, and taxpayers can now pay updated return within 2 years from the end of relevant assessment year by paying an additional tax. So what exactly it means is that, suppose if you didn't file a tax return, and if you want to postpone the file that tax return for a particular financial year, additional tax of 25% will be levied in that case if you're postponing by 1 year. Now, if you postpone by 2 years, then you will get an additional tax of 50%. Budget 2022 also proposed to charge an additional tax of 50% if the tax filer updated the return after the year but before 2 years, right? So this is the latest with regards to the middle class people, as far as whatever the middle class, their interests are. Now, coming to the next, I'll just be highlighting a few key points of what Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, had mentioned in the budget. Now, this is the Gati Shakti master plan, and so what exactly is the Gati Shakti master plan? So it concentrates on, it has a digital umbrella to bring 16 ministries, including rail and roadways, together under its ambit. The umbrella will help create integrated planning and coordinated implementation of infrastructure connectivity projects. The platforms will provide high-res satellite images, infrastructure, utilities, administrative boundaries, land, and logistics. An important feature of this plan is that the project is pegged as a source of employment opportunities for the youth in future. With an infrastructure project at that scale, the scale of promised job opportunities is not very surprising. With the Gati Shakti plan, the government is aiming to create 11 industrial corridors and 2 new defense corridors in Tamil Nadu and UP. It hopes to achieve 4G connectivity in every Indian village and increase the renewable energy capacity by a whopping 156% from the present capacity of 87.7 gigawatts to a promised capacity of 225 gigawatt by the year 2024-25. Further, the government aims to expand the national highway network to 2 lakh kilometers and increase the length of the transmission network to 4,54,200 circuit kilometers. Now, the master plan also promises the creation of 220 new airports, heliports, and water aerodromes, increasing railways' cargo handling capacity from 1210 million tons to 1,600 million tons, adding 17,000 kilometers to the gas pipeline network, and establishes 202 fishing clusters, harbors, landing centers. As per the mega investment plan in the road sector, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman said that the country's national highways would be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 2022-23 under this Gati Shakti National Master Plan by multimodal connectivity. So, as you see, this Gati Shakti Master Plan is all about infrastructure. It's about creating bridges, improving the railway connection, expanding highways by 25,000 kilometers, as she said. So this is a huge, investment or what do you say, budget for developing the infrastructure of India, and they have and the government has promised a lot of employment opportunities for the youth in some of these key sectors, which which has been mentioned. Now, coming to the next point is that so as I earlier said that Ms. Nirmala said that the country's national highways would be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 2022-23. So this is a huge positive point that you know there'll be a lot of development in terms of country's highways, and if you can sort of give a 4G connection to the rural areas, a lot of development will take place with connectivity and better awareness to news and sort of the things happening in India. If the people in rural villages are aware, then this will create more awareness and more education. Now, another key point which was discussed is that 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains with better efficiency to be bought in during the next 3 years. So these hi-fi trains will also be sort of bought in during the next 3 years. 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals to be developed during the next 3 years, and implementation of innovative ways for building metro systems. So a lot of development is being seen in the railways sector with 400 new generation of Vande Bharat trains, and this will be a bonus for travelers who are traveling from cities, and they can opt for more comfortable trains during journeys. Now, the next point is digital rupee is to be issued by the RBI. Yes, Ms. Sitaraman announced the launch of digital rupee, which is a central bank digital currency, or it's called CBDC. And according to Investopedia, the goal is to provide users. What is CBDC? Is the goal is to provide users with convenience and security of digital as well as regulated reserve-backed circulation of the traditional banking system. So now the announcement in the budget essentially expresses the government's intention on cryptocurrencies and other virtual currencies. The RBI has on several occasions flagged concerns of money laundering, terror financing, tax evasion with private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, and had planned to announce its own CBDC, which is now digital rupee. There are several models proposed by technology experts and evangelists on how the digital rupee would be transacted, but the formal announcement by the Reserve Bank of India will likely detail how the digital rupee will be transacted by citizens. One chief difference will be that a digital rupee transaction will be instantaneous as opposed to the current digital payment experience. So this is quite interesting, and one has to get more clarity as to what exactly digital rupee is, what are the specifics, and I hope I'm sure that the RBI will come out with more clarity on this particular digital rupee in the coming weeks. Now, another key point is that Ms. Sitaraman said that income from digital assets will be taxed at 30%, and this is the highest tax band in the country. I propose to provide that any income from transfer of any virtual digital asset shall be taxed at the rate of 30%. No deduction in respect of any expenditure or allowance shall be allowed while computing such income, except the cost of acquisition. That's what she said. After initially planning to ban cryptocurrencies, the Modi government is instead preparing legislation to regulate their use. At her customary press conference held after she presented the budget, the minister, responding to a question from media, indicated that cryptocurrencies will be treated as digital assets. Currency rests only with the RBI. Everything else is crypto assets and will see 30% tax. Now, losses from transactions in virtual digital assets cannot be offset against other income sources. This is a very key point. So, like, Suppose if you have started an account in a crypto exchange in India, and if you have invested in some Bitcoin or some other coin like Ethereum or something else. Now, suppose if you have made some considerable amount of profit in sort of Bitcoin, say like you have made a 200 to 300% return in your investment in Bitcoin. Now, suppose if you want to convert that Bitcoin into Indian rupees, then there'll be a 30% tax on whatever profit you make. And in case you make a loss in your investment in cryptocurrency, that loss cannot be offset, for tax purposes. So this is a very key point. And so apart from that, for cryptocurrencies given as gifts. So suppose if you're gifting any sort of cryptocurrency to, like, say your family members. So the recipient, so the one who receives that cryptocurrency from you, he will also be taxed 30%, right? Now, a 1% TDS will be applied to all digital asset transactions. This is what Ms. Sita Raman told. So every transaction will have 1% of whatever the value of the cryptocurrency transaction you're doing, whether it's buying or selling of cryptocurrency. Now, there was an interesting comment from Avinash Shekhar. He's the CEO of ZepPay. So what exactly is ZepPay? ZepPay is a crypto exchange in India. And so you can sort of invest in cryptocurrencies with one of these platforms. So there are a lot of platforms like CoinDCX, WazirX. So this is what he has said. The move to tax virtual digital assets gives the entire ecosystem, including investors and exchanges, transparency on the road ahead. 30% tax on income from virtual digital assets, while high, is a positive step as it legitimizes crypto and hints at an optimistic sentiment towards further acceptance of crypto NFTs across stakeholders in the country. So what he is indicating is that even though that the taxation on virtual digital assets like cryptocurrencies is high, at least now government is taking a step towards legitimizing crypto and also NFTs. So what are NFTs? NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So we will be explaining NFTs in a later video, and you will understand what NFTs are. So this is quite interesting that cryptocurrency, the government is taking steps to sort of recognize cryptocurrency, and even though that there's a 30% taxation on cryptocurrencies at the moment. Now, the next point is regarding EVs or electric vehicles or anything connected with that industry. In an effort to boost EV adoption and facilitate clean energy transition, Ms. Sitharaman announced a slew of measures focusing on the growth of green energy, electric mobility, data centers, grid-connected energy storage, and supporting incentives for green bonds. So the government is very supportive of clean energy and green bonds at this moment, and also sort of promoting EV industry. Now, another important point is with regards to the housing sector. Now, focus on housing by the coronavirus, after the coronavirus for last 2 years. Affordable housing got a boost in Union Budget 2022 as Sitaraman announced that as many as 80 lakh homes are expected to come up by 2023. She further stated that 48,000 crore rupees has been allocated to the housing projects under Prime Minister's housing scheme. The center is also looking forward to developing remote areas with announcing border villages with sparse population and limited infrastructure will be covered under the Vibrant Villages program. Under the scheme, housing, tourist centers, DTH, etc., will be provided. The finance minister also said that chemical-free natural farming will be promoted throughout the country with a focus on farmers' land in 5 kilometers wide corridors along River Ganga. The Housing for All initiative was launched by Modi government within 5 months of assuming office, as you know. It's all about ensuring a home for every Indian by 2022 to boost affordable housing and achieve the vision of housing for all by 2022. So this is some of the key points of housing finance sector. That is to encourage private investment service tax exemptions on houses up to 60 square meters, subsidy on interest rates for construction of houses up to 30 square meters, housing loans at an interest rates of 6.5% for 15 years for economically weaker section. Now, coming to the next piece of news is with regards to MSME enterprises. Now, Nirmala said that she announced the extension of Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, which is the ECLGS, till March 2023. Now, she said the cover of the scheme will be expanded by 50,000 crore rupees to 5 lakh crore rupees. An additional amount has been earmarked exclusively for hospitality related sectors, and the government will take small steps to make the MSME sector more resilient, she added. So, what is the MSME? MSME is nothing but micro, which is small, very small, and medium enterprises. So the government had launched a scheme in view of the COVID-19 pandemic to provide credit facilities to business enterprises. And in September last year, the center had expanded the funds allotted under the ECLGS from 3 lakh crore to 4.5 lakh crore, and also extend the scheme until March 2022. So that's with regards to the MSME enterprises. Now, coming to the next piece of news is that the center will roll out e-passports with futuristic technology from 2022 to 23 to enhance convenience for citizens. So there's a e-passport. So what exactly is e-passport? Is that e-passport will be an upgrade from traditional booklets like which you have for passports, and it will use biometrics and radio frequency identification to verify the identity of the passport holder. The government has been planning to roll out smart e-passports with secure biometric data. It had first announced issuance of e-passports in 2019. An e-passport will hold the same information as the traditional printed ones, such as the holder's name and date of birth, along with the biometric information. Now, the e-passports will come with a small silicon chip embedded in the jacket with 64 kilobytes of memory. The chip will have important security-related data encoded in it, including digitally signed personal particulars of the applicant. The passports are likely to have a thicker front and back covers and may take a few seconds to read. The new passports are likely to store up to 30 visits. So 30 visits means like you've gone outside India for 30 sort of visits to different countries. So that particular chip will have it will store all those data of your visits. Now these will also have a digital signature unique to each country that can be easily verified using a certificate. Now the next piece of news is what is in this budget, what all things have been have become more costlier or more expensive. So from this you can see that these are the items which have become more costlier. That is umbrella, imitation jewelry, single or multiple loudspeakers, headphones and earphones, smart meters, solar cells, solar modules, x-ray machines, and parts of electronic toys. Now coming to the what has become cheaper is that frozen mussels, frozen squids, asafoetida, cocoa beans, methyl alcohol, acetic acid, cut and polished diamonds, camera lens for cellular mobile phones. So all these things have become cheaper in this budget. As in, like, all these things are imported from other countries. So that's what they're referring to. Now, with regards to startups, there has been a booster for startups. There is 15% surcharge cap on LTCG. What is LTCG? LTCG is nothing but long-term capital gains. Now, in a move likely to boost investments in startups and make employees stock options a more lucrative proposition to attract and retain top talent, Ms. Sitharaman proposed to cap the surcharge on long term capital gains from shares of unlisted companies at 15% in the union budget in order to promote long term investments in equity of startups or shares of startups. The rate of surcharge has been capped at 15%, irrespective of the amount of long term capital gains. This is beneficial for the individual investors who are holding shares for more than 12 months or 1 year and selling it thereafter, thus to treat gains on sales of such shares as long term capital gains. And there has been some interesting reviews by key people or key economists like Mr. Mohandas Pai. He tweeted that budget 2022 is disappointing for the tax-paying middle class, but he says that it's overall positive for the Indian economy. So these are some of the you know uh, key highlights of the budget 2022. Let me know what are your views on this year's budget. What do you think of this year's budget? What are the key things which you are expecting from this year's budget, and sort of what kind of job sectors are you guys working in, and what were your expectations from this year's budget? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you.